This is Retirement News Online. I'm Scott Drake. Well, retirement means different things to many people. For some, it means quitting work entirely, while others may quit their current job but continue to work in some fashion. And here to talk about the concept of retirement is my guest, Brian Gray with APO Financial in Colorado. Brian, let's begin by talking about some of the biggest retirement decisions people need to make.
Well, Scott, that's a great question because retirement planning is very focused, and what the biggest decision people have to make is really making that choice to actually step out of the career. And what we like to say is always retire from something to something, but the biggest thing is just replacing your income from when you're working to when you actually decide to actually stop working. So a lot of people have the basic needs, which is Social Security, but that's not enough to cover all your income that you're going to need in retirement. So it's basically creating a good retirement plan, and ultimately where do you go to invest? How do you create extra income? Do you put too much risk on the table? And ultimately, what do you want to do about taxes?
Well, Brian, what are some of the common mistakes you see people make in retirement planning?
You know, what a lot of people, they make the mistakes is they think they're going to cover their current expenses based on what their income needs are, whether it be Social Security, whether it be pensions, or even income from savings. But there's a lot of other impacts as it relates to retirement. And so what we've done as a firm is really created a 5-step process. And really the first step is protecting assets and keeping it from going backwards too much, creating income, which was such a key component there. But also you got to look at health care, long-term care. How do taxes play into effect throughout retirement, not only today, but what does it look 5, 10, 15 years from now? And then ultimately what happens when you pass on? What are the taxes that you're going to leave to your children and grandchildren? And then ultimately you tie it all together with the financial estate plan, which is what do you want to do with the assets when you're gone?
Now let's talk about the difference between retirement planning, financial planning, and investment advice.
You know, they all kind of have a lot of similarities together, but with retirement planning, it's really strictly focused because you really have one shot to get retirement planning done right. You know, you can't go 5, 10, 15 years and go, I wish I would have done something different, because you don't have time to make that up. But ultimately, we start losing a little bit of time as we get in towards later stages of life. But with retirement, it's really focused that you have to focus on making sure you have the right income. Is it guaranteed? Is it not guaranteed? What happens with taxes, inflation, healthcare expenses are going up, so we have to account for those things, and ultimately what do you want to do when you pass?
Well, Brian, finally, how can someone find the right advisor for them?
Oh, that's a loaded one there, but in our opinion, you got to work with somebody that's a full-time fiduciary, somebody that has to give you a fiduciary advice on everything they advise on, not just your investments, but when to take Social Security, what type of health care choices. With Medicare, there's several choices to do, but you need to be able to work with people that understand retirement planning and not just your investments, because your investments is just one piece of retirement planning.
Brian, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Scott.
That was Brian Gray with APO Financial in Colorado, and you're watching Retirement News Online.